There is a way for you to shift your beliefs and your behaviors, but it starts with several of the things we're going to be talking about this week on the pod. So welcome with me, my friends, to the Dallas Daily Show here at the Neighborhood Loan Studio in St. Louis, Missouri. Let's get into part one of shifting your beliefs and your behaviors. So you've heard me talk about on other episodes and in our weekly midweek mind shift, we've talked about this idea of there are triggers in belief and behavior patterns. And in the Future You 5-Day, if you've done the Future You 5-Day challenge, you've worked on some of your trigger list, right? You've worked on the typical triggers that you and I have. Here's the truth. There is a pattern too, or should I say it like this? There is a way for you to shift those beliefs and those behaviors and accelerate the growth toward the person you're ultimately wanting to become. And today we're talking about part one, and that is this: recognize the old patterns. I know that sounds crazy, but you have to start with recognizing the old patterns. Now, I have a very interesting habit. All right, since we're talking about beliefs and behaviors, or can we say it like this, habit, I have a chair beside my bed. And what I will do is gently used clothes, it's not quite laundry yet, right? It comes out of the closet as crisp, clean, ready to wear, but it's not quite ready for the laundry yet. So maybe it's a shirt that I threw, like a quick T-shirt I threw on for an hour or two. I don't throw that immediately into the laundry. That goes on the chair because I consider it like loungewear that I just wore that evening for maybe 2 hours. And then what I do is maybe I wear it the next evening for 2 hours. Then it becomes laundry. So it goes on this gently used pile. Or tell me if you've ever done this. Pair of jeans that you know you're going to put back on again at another point because you're like, I only wore them for a couple hours. They're not dirty. They're not smelly. Right? I'll throw them on the chair, right? So I have this this chair with gently used clothing on it that I will sometimes pull back on. Not socks, not underwear, none of that sort of stuff. Just the outerwear that you're like, I didn't sweat in that. Let's put it back on. Y'all are with me. Several of you have this same chair. I know it, because I've seen it in your houses. But what will happen is if I'm starting to get busy and I put on a different T-shirt that next night and I put that on the gently used thing, or maybe I put on a pair of sweatpants for a couple of hours. Oh, and then that goes on the gently used chair. Oh, and then the next thing and the next thing. Well, if I've had a really busy week, that gently used pile might have 4 or 5 pieces of clothing on it, or sometimes, God forbid, 7 or 8. I'm giving you my reality here, folks, okay? Here's what's hilarious is it's one of those things I've been working on this last year because I'm like, this is a really poor belief and behavior of just piling up. It's very easy for me to put it back on a hanger if I need to as well, right? Or fold it back up and put it back with the other sweatpants. That would seem like the responsible adult thing to do. And I'll tell you, I've been working on it. I've been actually trying to get better. But here's the hilarious thing. Not long ago, my wife found some old photos. We were moving some stuff around. She found some old photos, and she found some photos from my high school. And there was a photo that someone took of me in my bedroom. I was stupid. I was working on my stack stereo. I'm about to show you how old I am, Taylor, okay? So I had a 5-disc CD changer. On top of that, I had a dual cassette player, then a radio receiver that went out to my plug-in speaker. So it was like a whole, this was the 90s. 90s kids, hit me up. Let me know if you had your own stack stereo system. Taylor's like, what's a CD? What's a cassette? It's retro tech. So anyway, I was in there and someone came in. I don't even know who took the photo. They took a photo of me in my room and my wife started cracking up when she looked at this photo. I'm like, what? She goes, look at the background. And there was a chair in my bedroom that had a stack of clothing on it. I was 16 years old, and that same stack of clothing was there, which means that's a 30-something year habit that I had of stacking clothes, gently used laundry on this thing. I was like, oh, I'll wear it again. That's how long that pattern had been in place, and I had never recognized it until she showed me that photo. And we both laughed about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, how many of us are stacking the clothes in our habits, in our beliefs, in our behaviors, and in our old thinking? how many of us are actually going, boy, I wasn't even aware that that's an old pattern in my life, but it's keeping us on these old belief behavior cycles. There are places in your own life, right, where maybe you're stacking the laundry up a little bit, gently used though it may be. Think about where that might be for you. Where is a place in your life? Maybe you stack the coupon magazines up on the pile until the weekend every week. Or maybe you're like, I'll get to that later. I'll get to that later. I'll get to that later. Where in your life is that happening, that you have a pattern of delayed minor adjustments that might actually be affecting what you're becoming? That's an interesting thought. So the first thing that we have to do, if we're going to start shifting our beliefs and behaviors out of this old cycle of who we are into this future version of who we want to become, what we have to do is we first have to, one, recognize old patterns. So the question I have for you today, where in your life do you have old patterns, or maybe gently used piles of patterns, that it's time that you start eliminating them in your life? All right, stick with us for tomorrow. We're going to talk about part 2 of this shifting beliefs and behaviors. You're going to love the story from that one as well. But that's all we got for you today, my friends. Go out there, have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to DallasDailyShow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.